All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. Good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for tuning in for this Facebook Live. We're very happy and excited to see you again. So last time we had an information session about step number 2 in applying for US universities. And today's topic or episode is about step number 3. So taking things step by step. To back up a little bit, I will be your host for this Facebook Live session. I work at the American Center at the US Embassy, and together with me, we will have the Education USA advisor who will be giving information about step number 3, which is complete your application. Maybe she can say hello really quick before we carry on with the intro.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Excellent. So at the American Center, we do lots and lots of events for you to connect with the United States, get closer to Americans, engage, collaborate, learn from each other, etc. So one of the pillars that we work on is studying in the US. This is, of course, a big topic, and a lot of Tunisians are very interested to go study in the US. So we are very lucky to have a program at the State Department called EducationUSA. This program is your official government source for information whenever you're looking for guidance to study in the US. This is guidance that is provided for to international students, in this case, Tunisians who are interested to study in the US. So we're very happy to have the Education USA advisor with us today to give guidance about step number 3. A few housekeeping rules before we go ahead and get started with our session. We are streaming this video live on Facebook. And so all of you are joining us on Facebook. You're tuning in there. You're viewing this video on Facebook. We will have our screen shared the whole time, just like you can see now. You will see on the top right-hand corner a thumbnail of either myself or my colleague, the Education USA advisor, whenever we're talking. So things will look this way. And then on the screen that you see, there will be lots of questions popping in throughout the session, and you will be asked to go to your device and answer a couple of questions. And the first question that we have for you is the following. Where in Tunisia are you joining us from? So in order to be able to answer this question, we ask you to go to menti.com. Here's the instructions on the screen. So go to menti.com on whatever device that you have, whether it's the same device or another device, maybe a handheld phone that you have close to you. So go to menti.com and enter the code that you see here on the screen. So it's 612346. That's the code. And then the question will appear on your device. Where in Tunisia are you joining us from? And we provided all of the options of all of the 24 governorates. So pick your governorate. Just in case you're joining us from somewhere else, not necessarily in Tunisia, there's another option at the very bottom that says other. We can see that some people are already answering the question. That's excellent. We would love to hear where you're joining us from. Of course, this event is virtual, and we are actually lucky to be able to provide virtual events to reach all of you wherever you are in the country. So we would love to know where you're joining us from, and we would love to see a variety every time. I know last time we had quite a bit of variety. So again, for those of you who have just joined, any device that you have on hand, go to menti.com, enter the code 612346. You will see the question on your device. Please answer the question, where in Tunisia are you joining us from? We're just curious, and we want to reach all of you wherever you are. if you know people, if you have friends that are anywhere in Tunisia that you think might benefit from these information sessions about studying in the US, please let them know. They can log in and join us, or they can tune in and join us if we offer events on Facebook. We also have lots of other events that we offer on Zoom, a bit more privately, I guess. And we advertise for those or announce all of those on the US Embassy Facebook page. So if you follow us, you can see the variety of programming that we do. We don't only talk about studying in the US, we talk about a lot of other things as well. Okay, lots of people from Ariana and Monastir, and then we have Tunis, Mehdiya, Gbilyi, Benarus, Sfax. Okay, awesome. We will have a couple more questions as we go. So thanks everybody for responding to this question, and we are very happy that you were able to join us wherever you are. Let's see what we have next. So there are 5 steps to studying in the US, as we have seen in previous sessions and as you might have known already. So what is the right order in your opinion? Can you take a guess? Again, back to your device. These are the 5 steps. We have them organized alphabetically here. This is only the alphabetical order. But we are curious if you know which step comes first, which step comes second, etc. There's a sequence. There's definitely a correct answer there. What do you need to do first when you apply to a US university? What do you need to do next, etc., etc. Again, the steps on your phone or on your device, you will see that they are organized alphabetically. So please rank the options on your device. And what you see on the screen here is just an average of the responses that you entered. So what do you need to do first? What do you need to do second, etc.? Again, for those of you who have just joined, we highly encourage you to go to menti.com, enter the code 61234, and you will see the questions on your devices, and you can answer all of our questions throughout the session. We highly encourage you to do join that way, because we will have lots of questions and lots of interaction throughout the session, so please do that. Menti.com, enter this code, very easy, 612346, and you will be able to answer all of the questions throughout the session, and your responses will appear in a very nice format on the screen. Okay, this is excellent. We have quite a few responses. You are actually spot on. This is excellent. I'm assuming that maybe, I'm not assuming, I don't want to assume, but maybe some of you have joined our previous info sessions, because I can see that you've got all of the steps in the right order. This is excellent. Thanks, everybody. Let's see. The last or the next slide will show the correct steps, and you've already seen them. Step number 1, research your options. Step number 2, finance your studies. Step number 3, complete your application. Step number 4, apply for your student visa. And step number 5, prepare for your departure. Today's info session is about, let's see. Today's info session is about step number 3. And we had info sessions in the past about step number 1. You can see this one on Facebook. Maybe our colleagues who are helping us with comments on Facebook, shout out to everybody who's in the backstage helping us with various things throughout the session. By the way, we have our colleagues in the backstage helping us with various things, including comments on Facebook. So if we can please provide the link for the previous Facebook Live sessions for people to watch later if they haven't already. So we had an info session on step number 1, and we also had an info session about step number 2, which is financing your studies. And then today's session is about step number 3. So let's see, what do we have on the agenda for today exactly? The first thing we'll be talking about with the advisor is educational credentials when you're applying for US universities. The second thing we'll be talking about is standardized test scores. Next is recommendation letters. And then finally, there will be we'll be talking about essays. These are very important, necessary elements to completing your application when to study in the US. So we'll be covering all of these. And then we will also have a Q&A session. So in fact, throughout the session, you can submit questions on your device. You can see at the bottom, if you scroll down a bit, you will see a button that says Ask Question. You can click on that and submit questions that you have anytime. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into our first topic for the day, which is educational credentials. Advisor, over to you.
Thank you, Nargis. And again, welcome to everyone who joined us. I'm very happy that we have students who kept coming to different live sessions. So well done. It's good to follow the steps, the 5 steps guide to study in the US. So again, starting with your application, as we mentioned in previous sessions, we talked about applying online. Universities usually they have the application forms on their respective websites, but with that you have to prepare your admissions package or your application package. The first thing that we want to discuss today is the educational educational credentials. So we want to ask a question before we mention and explain more what are educational credentials. We want to ask you what are the credentials that you should provide? Do you have any idea? Did you start the process? So please, as Narja said, you can go to your mentimeter.com. And just provide us with your answers. It's just for us an idea to know how familiar you are with the application process. Do you know what it means? What is needed from you? What should you provide? And this is helpful for us to understand the type of students that you are. So whether for undergraduate or graduate studies, and this is helpful for us to check your different answers.
Again, everyone on your device, please go to menti.com, enter the code if you haven't already, 612346, and please answer the question, what do you think are the credentials that you need or should provide when you apply to US universities? Okay, someone is saying GPA, keep them coming. Anything else that you think you should provide as credentials or educational credentials? The instructions are on the screen again. I'm going to pull that up. Okay, it seems like people might not be very familiar with the topic, which is excellent because that's why we're here, right? So I guess the advisor can take it over and tell us more about what the educational credentials are.
Okay.
Good.
Yes. Thank you. We have some replies coming in. We have GPA. I'm not familiar with the topic. We have TOEFL. We have degrees. So the 3 of them are relevant, and thank you for the person who submitted. I'm not familiar with the topic. So credentials, the meaning of credentials, they are your educational and academic degrees or diplomas. So anything that is academic, anything that is part of your degree. Again, we have people who said any other qualification received or maybe proficiency test results. We have essays. So I just want to clarify that credentials, they are strictly your degrees, your diplomas, your transcripts. GPA can be part of it. So GPA stands for grade point average. In our Tunisian system, معدل سنوي or moyen annuel. So just to give you an idea, like what are credentials? So they are strictly academic diplomas and academic degrees.
Advisor, you were a little bit muffled there. There were a lot of interruptions. If you could just repeat the last two sentences that you said, maybe, and speak slowly.
Okay. Do you hear me right now? Okay, cool. So sorry about that. I think we have an internet glitch, but I just want to highlight that what is meant by credentials is your degrees, your official diplomas, whether they are your high school diplomas or your actual the university diplomas or transcripts, academic transcripts. So the rest, which is like test, essays, or any other elements, they're another criteria. So I just want to highlight that credentials are strictly educational and academic diplomas, transcripts in your respective countries.
Okay, are we going to the next slide now?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay. Let's see, this one is a quiz. So on your devices, please pick an avatar. You will be assigned, actually, you will be assigned an avatar, and you will be assigned a pseudonym, like just a fake name. You can keep the fake name or you can enter your real name, it's up to you. And then we will have a question or a quiz for you about what the advisor has just covered or related to what the advisor has just covered. Just FYI to everybody, since we are streaming this video to Facebook, there is a delay of a few seconds, and this means that you will probably see things on your device earlier before you see them on our shared screen on the Facebook Live, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind, and the quizzes are timed. You will only have a few seconds to enter your responses. The questions are very easy, the options are very easy, but try to enter your responses really quick because you will only have a few seconds to answer, and you want to respond correctly and faster, or as fast as possible. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start the quiz. I have to convert my grades to the American GPA system. Is this true or false? You have just a few seconds. Please look at your device and enter your responses on your device, and we'll see what the correct answer is.
In the meantime, I just want to highlight that with academic transcripts or your diplomas or your educational credentials, you need to translate them by a sworn translator. So it's very important that you find a sworn translator to translate all of your transcripts, whether for the 4 years of your high school or 4+ years at university. So all of the transcripts should be translated officially by a sworn translator into English. And how you submit them, you just upload them in your application form online at the university's websites, or it depends if they are using another portal. So I received that like a lot of questions. Students sometimes they get confused about where to submit their own academic transcripts or where to put them. So just FYI, everything happens online, and you need to translate your transcripts.
That's great. So the results are showing on the screen here. Most people said true, I have to convert my grades to the American GPA system, but the correct answer is false. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about that, advisor?
Yes, as I said, following up on what I just mentioned, you just need the translation of your transcripts into English, like a sworn translation, which is an official translation. So to be honest, in Tunisia, we have like different systems, whether you're studying at a Tunisian high school or a French high school or an international high school. It depends on your school, but officially with our Ministry of Higher Education, we have our GPA, which is the grade point average. So it's whether you're Mu'addal Sanawi or your Moyen Annuel. It's out of 20. So it doesn't make any sense for American universities to convert like 4 years of transcripts from 4 years of transcripts from something out of 20 to a GPA, which is in the American system is out of 4. So I just want to give you the good news. You don't have to convert your grades to American system. Universities, usually American universities, they will accept your translated transcripts, and then they will do their own in-house, meaning at the university, they will do their own conversion of the subjects that you studied, your class rank, everything that is related to your full curriculum for 1 year or 2 years. So all of that is very important.
That's excellent. And I'm glad you reiterated that twice. So it's very clear. Okay, let's see what we have next. The next topic is standardized test scores.
So as we said, with what you need for your application, you have the application form that is online. You also have the credentials. So the first thing that you need to do is to translate your transcripts or credentials or degrees or diplomas for your high school years or university years. Then you have to sit for the standardized test. We mentioned this in previous sessions that it is part of your admission or application package. So today we want to cover the scores of the tests themselves. So whether it is the English language proficiency or other standardized tests to assess your intellectual, your reasoning skills, all of that should be relevant. So for the English language proficiency, you have the option to sit for the TOEFL, IBT, or the IELTS. So the TOEFL, as we said in previous sessions, is a test of English as a foreign language. The same thing for the IELTS, the same of both of them. They test your English fluency or proficiency in an academic setting. So whether it's the TOEFL or the IELTS, you're free to sit for any of them. With the high school students, you should have your SAT scores, so the Scholastic Aptitude Test, along with your SAT subject test. Here, again, I'm not going to talk about the tests themselves. I want to highlight the importance of the scores. So part of the things that you should be considering while researching universities and completing your application is the cutoff score or the minimum score required by each university. So whether it's the SAT or the GMAT, GRE, the TOEFL or the IELTS, universities are very clear on their websites where they provide like the minimum score to be accepted in the school itself. But I just want to highlight that you need to check for any specific awards, for any specific scholarships, for any specific merit-based additional financial aid. You have to check because universities, they will ask like a more competitive score, whether for, again, any of these standardized tests. So again, everything is interlinked. So we ask you to check the application timeline, respect your deadlines, but check to get your scores in time to see if you are eligible to apply to that particular school or not. So while doing your research, again, in the Excel worksheet, and I always repeat that, you have to put the minimum score required from each university.
That's great. Thank you so much. So yeah, we're just curious now that we talked a bit about the standardized tests, and we'll talk more about the scores specifically. But before we do that, we're just curious. Have you taken a standardized test before? On your device, again, back to your device. And this is a yes or no question. The code appears always on the screen at the top. Whenever we have a question on the slide, we have the code appearing. You can see it here and instructions. So, okay, it seems like about 77 people have not taken the test or any standardized test before. That's good. That gives us some visibility. Let's see what we have next.
So after today's session, hopefully people will get more familiar with tests while applying or checking universities' websites. So now moving on to tips about standardized test scores. As I mentioned earlier, minimum scores are very important. You have to check the university's websites. Also, something else that's important, if you need to retake the test, usually if your score is not what the university is asking for, you can retake the test. That's why we ask you to give yourselves the time to at least maybe sit for the test like twice to make your score better or make it more competitive to the schools or the financial aid or scholarships that you're applying for. Something else that you should consider is the validity of the test itself. So we just want to highlight that most of the tests, their validity is 2 years. So please recheck on the official websites of each test the validity. So the updates are usually in the official source, which is the test website. So also the time frame or the timeline, please give yourselves the time. You have to, whenever you're taking the test, you have to check that your application or your university deadline doesn't coincide with the actual test release date. So usually you have between 7 to 10 business days to get your score. So keep that in mind. And again, the latest updated information on the time frame on when you're going to receive your test scores is available on the test's websites. So usually they will tell you when you will be receiving officially your tests, and then you will get your scores via email, and then you can submit them to the university. So just keep that in mind, like score reports, when are they released, so that you have to have like a pause. If you're considering to retake the test, you have you give yourselves enough time.
I think the final note we have here is about the school reports.
Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. So the school reports, we just want to highlight that universities, usually they want to receive the test scores officially. You shouldn't be sending your test scores via email to the universities. You should contact your testing center. So here we have Amadis as resource testing center for a variety of tests, whether it's the SAT, the GRE, the TOEFL, IBT. So your official accredited test center should be sending your scores, but it is a fee for service. So every university, they call like additional score reports sent to the universities via your testing center. Sometimes I just want to highlight students opt for another option, which is to, on the day of the exam or on the day of the test, you have free score reports to be sent to 4 universities. So if you are sure that you will get a competitive score, if you are sure that you will ace that test, please apply to that opportunity. So on the day of your exam, you are allowed to have 4 free tests submitted for 4 score reports submitted to 4 universities for free, but you need to provide the proctors or the testing managers the university codes in advance. So they need to recheck and put it in your school report. If you have any questions about this, please check the official websites, and we will put the tests websites in the Facebook comments so that you can refer back to these official sources.
Thank you. Very, very important. Next up is a quiz. Again, you will see these details earlier on your device, then you will see them on the Facebook Live video, actually. So please be quick in responding to the question. The question is, how long would your scores be valid for? Just look at your phone, you will see the question there, and just type, how long would your scores be valid for? This is something that the advisor covered in the previous slide. Just a few seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, time is up. Okay. Correct answer is 2 years. This is what the advisor said earlier. This is great. This one answered in French. Should actually mark it as correct. So excellent. Well, that's good. 3 years. Okay, great. Anything to add, advisor, before we go to the next slide?
I think yes. I'm happy that most of the people answered the right correct answer.
That's great. Your scores are valid for 2 years. That's excellent. Okay, let's see what we have next. Oops. Okay, recommendation letters is our next topic. Okay, over to you, advisor.
Okay, so recommendation letters, usually the number of the recommendation letters vary from one school to another. So please check. Sometimes if you are in high school and you're applying for undergraduate studies, they will require at least 2 academic recommendation letters, meaning 2 letters of recommendation from your high school teachers. So your high school teachers are your actual official source. Sometimes if you are at university level and you want to apply for graduate studies, they will require additional professional experience. So you can have a balance between actually academic and professional. You can have at least a variety of recommendation letters between academic and professional variety of recommendation letters. So sometimes your supervisors or your professional, professional supervisors or bosses can also be your recommenders. So here, as you can see in the slide, we said your high school teachers or university teachers for any academic recommendation letters. I just want to highlight that sometimes in the universities portals or the application portals, you will find school counselors. And this is a very big topic, especially here in Tunisia. It's something challenging because we don't have officially a title, an administration title in the high school that is said to be a counselor, a school counselor. So we just want to highlight that who can replace an official school counselor here can be, again, an official from your high school. So it can be your school principal, or school director, the dean in the university. But usually some of your teachers, whether you're high school teachers or university teachers, can also be your counselors because they know your profile, they worked with you, they graded your papers, maybe they worked on a school project with you, or you help them in an extracurricular activity or a club. So that will highlight how they know your academic achievements, but also your leadership skills or your leadership potential. So that should be very important. Something else that I want to add, if you're applying for athletic scholarships or a talent scholarship, your coaches, so whether it's your sports coach in a specific like sport, or your actual like your music teacher, or in addition like your dance teacher or your swimming teacher, they can be part of the recommenders. So it depends on the type of scholarships that you're applying for. It really depends on the university portal and the number of recommenders and the type of recommenders. So we ask you to check like the university's websites in your own portals and your own accounts to check how many recommendation letters do you need and from whom exactly. Yes, personal tutors. So again, personal tutors, they can be part of your recommenders. And I mentioned this before, like supervisors for any professional experience that is required for certain scholarships or certain graduate programs.
Another quiz is coming up, so please look at your phone and answer the question, which recommender should you choose? And you have two options. Just a few seconds to go. Quick, quick, quick. Do you need the recommender to be the one with the higher position or the one who knows you better?
Very tricky question. And I think like most of us, we had this in our life as students or as professionals. So I think a lot of people can relate to this question.
Correct. Great. Always pick the one who knows you better. Okay. Next one. Final topic for today's session before we get into the Q&A session is essays. And I think we have a couple of questions for you before we go on. What is a personal statement? Again, this is a question to answer on your device. For those who have just joined, we are using an interactive tool. And the way it works is you need to go to menti.com on whatever device that you have, enter the code that you see on the screen here, 612346, and please answer the question that you see on the screen. For those of you who might be watching this recording later, the code and the slide or the questions will not be active for you. The presentation will be closed. So just FYI, but for those who are here with us now, please answer the question. A few responses are coming in. Brief personal summary given to prospective employers to help you stand out from other applicants. A personal statement is an application essay. I don't know. That's excellent. Thank you for saying that you don't know. That's why we're here. Good. A statement supporting your application. You write it in personal, you write in it personal and professional information about you, what you want to highlight, your most important activities and experiences. Okay, great. Any comments from the advisor?
I think this is great that people like they know the difference. So it's an application essay, or it's an essay. I just want to highlight that sometimes you have like a word limit or a word count. It can vary between like 500 to 650 words. So please respect these instructions because anything additional that you write after the word count set in the portal will not be taken into consideration. So please keep that in mind.
Awesome. Here's another question, again, under the topic of essays. What is a statement of purpose now? a statement of purpose. Same way it works earlier, just go to your device and you will see the question and just answer the question. Same way you did with the previous one. We're just curious what you think a statement of purpose is. And we know that some of you might by now be confused. Oh, we thought that a personal statement is what it is, but then if you ask about a statement of purpose, then what's the difference? So that'll be good. Okay, someone is saying what your goals are in the statement of purpose. Someone else is saying, I guess it is why I'm going to study in the US. Okay. Admission essay, okay. Reasons for applying. Any comments from the advisor?
These are very good. I'm happy that people are familiar with personal statement of purpose. I just want to highlight that sometimes universities use them interchangeably. So they mean by it like the application essay, or as someone said, like the admissions essay. But you have to be very careful to check the distinction on the university website. So I just want to highlight that sometimes I have a difference between both of them. A personal statement will be focusing on your individual background, as we mentioned before, your leadership potential, your leadership skills, like special, again, focusing on the special reasons why you want to attend that particular university or why you want to study in the US in general. But the statement of purpose, sometimes it's usually asked for graduate programs. Sometimes I say, so it's not like yes or no question. Again, you have to check on the university's website, but the statement of purpose will be very detail oriented, very focused on your purpose spotlights, your career goals, why you are choosing that particular specific program. So it's very important to be very specific, to give examples, to do your own research about that particular major or field of studies that you want to apply for. So just to make it easier for you, a personal statement is the application essay, and it is asked for everyone. So whether you're in high school or you're at university, a statement of purpose is more purpose focused, or like more detail oriented, focusing on your career goals and what will that specific diploma do for your future academic future, and again professional career goals. So just highlighting this.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That is very clear and very good to know. Let's see what we have next. The essays are just a bit more information from the advisor.
So quickly, as I mentioned, the essays are to explain why you are the perfect candidate or the perfect applicant for a specific school program. So again, whether it's a personal statement of purpose, sometimes some universities will ask you for additional essays. So just be patient. And this is why I always highlight that your timeline, your deadlines should be, you should give yourselves the time to at least work a year on your application before actually submitting. Again, it presenting or advertising for yourself, again, rooting for yourself and presenting a picture of who you are. So use like life experience from your personal like resumes or your personal backgrounds. It's an opportunity again to share personal and academic examples, something that shaped your personality, something that shaped your life, and your professional experience or professional goals, if it is applicable, of course.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's see what we have next here. I guess it's a quiz. Again, just look at your device. To study in the US, I should complete my application for only one university or college, or more than one university or college? Just a few seconds, very quick on your phone. Okay, this is awesome. Everybody said I should apply for more than one university or college. I guess unanimously people are just going to apply.
Yes, which is smart. So you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, as we say. So just vary the number of universities, again, at least between 5 to 10 universities. For undergraduate programs, for graduate programs, it should be more competitive to like three or five. So to be able to have like more chances to be accepted.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much for the comprehensive guidance. I guess with that, we come to the Q&A session of our episode on step number 3, complete your application to study in the US. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and submit them. I know that a few of you have already started submitting questions and we will see them on the screen. On your device, please click the button Ask a Question if you haven't already and submit any questions you might have. We have a few minutes for Q&A and let's go ahead and get started with the questions that have already been submitted. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it's just taken a few seconds here for.
I think I can see it. What?
Here.
I think I can see it. So what about the postdoctoral or yes, postdoctoral programs? So again, postdoctoral can be considered as postgraduate studies. So I don't understand your question. What about them? Like, what is your specific question? So please, the person who asked this question, if you can be more specific, that would be helpful for us to answer you better.
Yes, and just a note for everybody, while you are submitting questions, please keep your questions relevant to today's topic. So the topic is complete your application, and we've gone through the 4 subtopics, educational credentials, recommendation letters, the standardized test scores, and the essays. So please keep your questions relevant. We will cover other questions about other topics in other information sessions, okay? The next question, the TOEFL, is it necessary if you have your SAT?
I love this question. It keeps popping in all of the sessions and it's always relevant. So I always want to reiterate that the TOEFL and the SAT are 2 separate tests, 2 separate entities. You need both. So the SAT is for your testing your reasoning and English skills in a specific test format. And the TOEFL is relevant for everyone who is non-native speaker. So because Arabic is Arabic is our first native language. So we need to sit for any English language proficiency test. And again, the SAT doesn't replace the TOEFL and vice versa. So you need both. Sorry to break it to you.
Excellent. No, that's good because you have more chances to prove yourself and to strengthen your application. That's good. Next question, which kind of IELTS are we supposed to sit for? Because there are 3.
Very good question. So the answer is the academic IELTS. So that's needed because you will be studying an English degree. So it depends on the type of the major, but still is the IELTS academic. And this is a very good question.
Excellent. Let's see what we have next. Is 1400 SAT score good enough?
Very good question. So again, the answer is it depends on the schools or the programs that you are applying to. So you have to check the minimum score of the universities that you're applying to. The score itself, it looks good because like the SAT is out of 1,600. So that's considered a competitive score, but again, it doesn't guarantee a specific financial aid amount or a specific scholarship. You need to check the universities of your choice and the minimum score that are required, or the cutoff score that are required for international students.
Fantastic. Let's see, next question. Your private teacher can't write you a recommendation letter? I think we answered this question under recommenders.
Yes, under recommenders. So private teacher can be your tutor. Again, it's someone who worked with you. They know your academic achievements, so they can be one of your recommenders.
Great. Next question. Middle school teachers can't write something about your originality from your young age?
This is a very good question. So because, again, you are in high school, so recommendation letters should come from your current teachers, or at least like a year back. Year back, not the baccalaureate, so just like an actual year ago. Middle school teachers in our system is considered college. I think this is what is meant by this. It's like way back. So after that, academically, personally, and on all levels, like you've changed and you've grown up, hopefully, to the better. So again, they should be your current high school teachers, or at least a year back, or a year ago. So yeah. But this is a very relevant question. And I just want to take the opportunity about recommendations to highlight that recommendation letters should be written in English. And if your teachers cannot write them in English, you can take the original in Arabic or French and translate it by a sworn translator and try to upload both documents in the recommendation section. So thank you for the person who submitted this question.
Nice, thank you for the answer. Do we have to sit for SAT? I think we kind of answered this question earlier with the TOEFL. Yeah, marking this one answered. Next one. Can it be a higher up from an association you're involved into? I think we're talking about recommenders here.
Yes, so the recommenders here, a higher up in an association or a club, it will be considered part of your extracurricular life or your community service life. That can be that person, he or she, they can be your recommender for the extra recommendation letters. So sometimes universities or on the common application portal, they will ask you for an extra or additional recommendation letters, but they shouldn't be the official academic recommenders. Those should be your teachers in your specific high school, the one that you are officially enrolled in.
That's very good to know. Thank you. Next question. Do you have to take the SAT subject test, or the SAT is enough? Okay, SAT versus or in addition to the SAT subject test here.
This is a great question. So again, the SAT is to like the SAT reasoning or the SAT 1, the one out of 1,600 is required from international students. The SAT subject tests, they are said to be optional but recommended, which means that for any additional selectivity, universities, while offering financial aid or scholarships, will require at least 2 subject tests. And I just want to highlight the subject tests are, like the name says, it's like in a specific subject. So whether it's in math, it's literature, biology, chemistry, history, physics, yeah, like languages. I have a lot of students who sit for like German or Spanish or any other language, is to highlight your motivation, but also your academic skills in a specific subject related to the major or the double major or the field of studies that you want to apply for. And this is relevant for high school students who are applying for undergraduate studies only. So I just want to highlight that those who are at university, you don't need the SAT, you don't need the SAT subject test. You need the GRE, or sometimes, again, it depends on the school requirements, GRE subject tests. So just highlighting that this is relevant to high school students.
Thank you so much. That is very helpful. Just a reminder to everybody, you are still welcome to submit questions, and please keep the questions relevant. We noticed that some of the questions coming in are talking about scholarships or researching your options, which university or which major to choose. Those are topics that we have already covered in step number 1 and step number 2. So please watch the recordings of our previous info sessions, and we will definitely keep offering info sessions on Facebook and elsewhere. But for today, we will try to stick to the topic. So please keep your questions relevant and try to be very clear and yeah, in stating your questions, because some of the questions coming in were not very clear, unfortunately. Okay, let's see what's next. What if I have many skills, but I don't have documents or stuff that prove it? What should I do?
Excellent question. So this is a good question, because again, in our culture, sometimes people think they should show like an official document, like a certificate or an official proof that they did an activity or they did something. Good news, you don't need that while applying to American universities. But again, you have to be consistent, but also you have to be you have to be authentic and genuine and honest about the activities that you achieved. So how you're going to make a recording of these activities and how you're going to show your involvement or your excellent profile, as someone said, like you have many activities. So on the university's portal, so especially if you're in high school and applying for undergraduate studies, you will be mostly using the common application, because most of the universities use the common application website, where you're going to create an account. The good thing about the website, the common app, is that it is user-friendly. So when you log in, you have like a full folder or rubric for activities. The good thing is that you have to put reply. I'll give small answers about your reading role. How long have you been in that position, or how long have you been doing the activity, the impact, and the number of hours. It's very important to check these 3 or 4 requirements. So the number of activities, whether it's community service, volunteering, is it a personal hobby, what type of activity, is it an online course, how long did you take to actually finish that. You don't need a certificate or a diploma. You just need to put the number of hours that it took you to achieve that activity itself or that accomplishment. And also, what was your leading role? Were you a simple member? Were you the founder? Was it your own initiative? Whether in your high school or in your club or in your association. So all of that should be part of your activities. And if you don't have enough space to put all of the activities that you have, you can use these examples to insert in your essay, in your personal statement, because you need life examples from your life actual experience. You also need to give them as examples to your recommenders, so to your teachers, to highlight your academic accomplishments or your leadership skills. So all of, like, you don't have even like the number, it doesn't matter the number of activities. You should have like kind of a homogeneous profile and certain diversity.
That is excellent news. Thank you so much. Let's see the next question. The start of applying to a university as an undergraduate student is on December to February, but that time our bulletin or transcript isn't ready yet. So what to do?
Okay, so this is a very relevant question. University's timeline, so applying to the universities, or we call it the application deadline, you have different types of deadlines. We mentioned this before. You have the early action or early decision, usually it's in November. And then you have the regular decision, which, as you said here, runs from December up to February. And you don't have your transcripts ready yet. So what you need to have is your 3 transcripts: first year high school, second year of high school, third year of high school, translated again by a sworn translator into English, scanned and uploaded in your document. And with that, you need to have an additional mid-year transcript. So usually the mid-year transcripts, they are ready by like January or February, and universities will review your profile for the 3 years of your high school, and then will ask you to provide them the first semester or the first trimester transcript bulletin for your 4th year, which should be your baccalaureate year. So don't worry about it. They know that you have like 4 years and it's like the mid of the year in a way. So they will only ask you to have the mid of the year transcript. If that's not available or that's not ready, you can use the attestation d'inscription, which is like your registration official like certificate. And if you have any problem with that, please feel free to reach out to me. I can like reach out to the universities on your behalf and help them understand the situation and help you explain more what's going on.
That's very helpful. Thank you so much. And maybe our colleagues can type the email address for how people can reach out to you if they have follow-up questions. That would be very helpful.
Yes, it's like the Tunis at educationusa.org. And please be specific in your emails, like talking about your background and your specific question, because sometimes people send emails like, and they put just a tiny question in the subject line. So that's not very helpful for us to get back to you with an accurate answer. Thank you.
Yeah, that's clear. Next question, for postdoc, should we have a research proposal or just specify the research area we want to do? Seems like we have at least one person interested in postdoc.
Yes, and the answer definitely should be on the university website. So I know that a lot of people think that like you have the European system for doctoral and postdoctoral programs. The American system is different. You need to focus on the university of your choice that offers the specific field of study or like research, postdoctoral or research that you want to do, and focus on the university requirements itself in that specific department. So as an example, if I want to do a postdoctoral research in humanities and I know the specific field, I will go to the website of the humanities department and I will check the frequently asked questions or the email of the admission officer or graduate admission officer, try to reach out to them and do a thorough research on the website and see how I can tailor my research or research proposal.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. A few more questions and we will try to go through them a bit faster. We're kind of running out of time here. All right. Still confused on how GPA is calculated. Will it depend on your final grades in baccalaureate or the full year? We kind of already answered this one, so maybe.
Kind of. So it's like just translating your GPA for 4 years. All of the years are relevant, not only your baccalaureate year. So it will be your first year, second year, third year, your current baccalaureate year, and the actual exam, national exam at the end.
Thank you so much. Do postdocs need to do the tests, standardized tests?
You need to check with the university's websites. The TOEFL or the IELTS should be a must because, again, you will need the English language proficiency. The rest of the test, you should check the university of your choice and what are the actual requirements.
That's great, thank you. Can you get accepted in a university as an undergraduate student even if you didn't pass the SAT?
Okay, you need to sit for the SAT. But some universities or some community colleges, they don't require the SAT. And sometimes now, especially after the COVID-19 situation, a lot of universities are saying they are test optional. So they don't require the SAT to be accepted. Some community colleges, again, They don't require the SAT, but I just want to highlight the SAT is needed for selectivity and for competitive scholarships. So if you're applying for financial aid, competitive scholarships, the SAT and SAT subject tests are a must. If you just want to be accepted in the university and you can afford the tuition and everything else from your own personal budget, that shouldn't be, like SAT shouldn't be required. But again, it's not about tailoring your application in general, it's about focusing on the universities of your choice.
That's very clear. Thank you so much. What if I have a decent GPA, but I'm very involved and active in different associations?
What about it? I don't understand the question. That seems to be a good profile. So a decent GPA should be good, but also you should have an eclectic background when it comes to different activities and associations. So well done.
Excellent. Does applying require a fee or is it free? This one is relevant to last time's info session, but we can answer it very quickly. It's a yes.
Very quickly, yes. So universities, they have application fees, and some universities, they don't require application fees. So it depends on the list of your universities. And again, we mentioned in the previous session how you can process the payments for the application fees.
Thank you so much. For an elaborate response to this question, please watch the recording of the previous live video that we have on our Facebook page. Maybe our colleagues can paste the link again, or maybe they have already. So please check out our previous live video. Next question. Shall we bring all the bulletins or transcripts that we had, or only the ones for the back year?
We answer this question. You need all of them translated into English. So you will be applying with 3 years transcripts, and then university will accept you, but they will wait for the mid-year transcript, the actual 4th year baccalaureate transcript, and the national exam results that are released in July. So you can be accepted, they can offer you a scholarship, but it will be pending your actual graduation from your 4th year of high school and fulfilling the requirements of the actual national exam.
Okay, thank you so much for answering this one again. Can you write your email to get help and ask specific questions? Definitely, I think our colleagues might have already provided the email address for follow-up questions. If they haven't, we will definitely do so after the session. Thank you. I think that was it. Thank you so much. Excellent questions. Thank you so much to the advisor for the clarification. This was very fruitful. Again, great questions from all of you. A few more slides to end the session with. As a result of this info session, we just want to learn about the impact of this information session. So just 3 statements, and then you can move the slider on your phone, on your device, whatever device you have. Again, the instructions are right here for those of you who might have joined recently. You can go to menti.com, enter the code 612346, and just move the slider however you like. So from a scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree, what do you think about the statements that you see on the screen as well as on your phone? I feel more motivated to complete my application now to apply to US universities. The next statement is, I learned new information about applying. And then the last one is, I will complete my application or applications to study in the US. To what extent do you agree with these statements? So as a result of this session, did this impact your motivation? Did you learn new information? And then will you actually complete your application to study in the US? We would love to know. Seems like most people so far are on the agree side. That's very good to know. All right, well, thanks everybody. That's very helpful for us to know. Let's see what we have next. It's actually a question that we have for you. So if we were to offer an extra info session about step 3, which is today's episode or today's topic about applying or completing your application to study in the US, what would you want it to be about? And the options that we have listed are the 4 topics that we covered today. So educational credentials, standardized test scores, recommendation letters, and essays. So if we were to offer an extra info session about step 3 before moving to step 4 and step 5, which one would you like more guidance about? We would love to hear from you so we can offer an extra info session if needed about the topic that you are most interested in or you need more guidance about the most. It seems so far that people are interested in essays or need more support with essays. Nobody's interested in recommendation letters. It seems like that was that's good. That's cool. Okay, well, all right. That's very helpful. Thanks, everybody. Now, from a little bit more from the American Center side, what do you prefer during summer in terms of events? Do you prefer our events to be offered in the mornings, just like today's event, for example? We started at 11, and then the other option is events in the afternoon. So when we say afternoon, it's, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., around that time. More people are saying events in the mornings so far. It's kind of expected when you ask people who are participating in a morning event, but quite a few are saying events in the afternoon too, so that's good. All right, well, thanks everyone. One more question. How long do you prefer these events to be? 45 minutes or 60 minutes or 75 or 90 minutes? So today's info session was 75 minutes long, or almost, or, so what do you prefer? Usually, most of the time we do 1 hour long events, so 60 minutes, but we have also done 75 minutes, and we have also done 1 hour and a half, so 90 minutes. We've never done 45 minutes, which is very short, or on the shorter side. We've never done that, but please let us know. It's interesting that we have 2 votes for 45 minutes. That's interesting. Okay, well, thank you for voting. That's good to know. Well noted. Oh, wow, 45 minutes. Well, thank you for sticking around. This was a long session and longer than 45, and you're still with us, so thank you so much. Okay, now another question. Which platform do you prefer? Facebook Live, like today? This one is a Facebook Live. You're all tuning in on Facebook. Or do you prefer our events to be on Zoom? So like not on Facebook at all, it's on Zoom. So you have to register and we give you the link, etc. It's a bit more private on Zoom. It's announced publicly. We announce all of our events publicly, but people register and we actually have the meetings privately, a bit more privately. Facebook Live is a bit more public, clearly. Or we can do both, Facebook and Zoom. So now, for example, the advisor and myself are on Zoom. We do not really have any other audience on Zoom at the moment. All of you are tuning in on Facebook, but we can do both. So you can decide, or you can choose where to join us, Facebook or Zoom. And then the other option is Google Meet. And so far, nobody's has voted for that. Okay, that's very good to know. Thank you, everybody. Let's see what we have next. This one is a Giphy just to show you if you're interested in more information sessions offered on Facebook or Zoom or any other platform. Please make sure to follow our page on Facebook, US Embassy Tunis. Make sure to set your following to see first rather than default. So if it is see first, you will see our announcements first thing when you log into Facebook, and that is usually very, very helpful. And then you can also do the same thing with the Education USA Tunisia Facebook page. Lots of updates there. I know the advisor offers other information sessions and has other very useful postings about various things related to applying to US universities. Again, set the following to see first. And then finally, for those of you who prefer to receive an email from the American Center about our events related to studying in the US, then you can type your email address on your device and submit. And then we will add you to our mailing list that has to do with the events about studying in the US, and we can then send you email notifications. If you prefer receiving emails rather than following us on Facebook, then you can definitely do that. Please don't write your email addresses on Facebook, just submit them on your device, menti.com with the same code. All right, with that, thank you everybody for joining us. We really hope that this information session was rich and valuable, possibly also enjoyable. And we thank the Education USA advisor very, very much for her time and expertise and guidance, very generous. And we hope to see you again. Have a great day, everybody.